Totally Nonsense on Nonsense News Nation. Totally.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids and cadets, to another riveting edition of Totally Nonsense on Nonsense News Nation. I am your host, Brandon Ellis, Hebrew name Shmuel Menach, and I'm with someone else. Who's the other host?
Well, I am Scott. I'll say my middle name, though I don't like it. Jared Honickman.
Oh, it's like the N-word. Don't ever say that again.
I don't have a Hebrew name, but I do have a Yiddish name. It's and I wear it proudly.
Now, Scott, I appreciate you sharing your Yiddish name to me and the fellow listeners of Nonsense News Nation. But did you know that someone else heard your Yiddish name?
Well,
we have someone else on the podcast today.
We do.
Can you please introduce yourself? What is your name, good sir?
I am the one, the only, Nico Nansis. Or you can just call me Nikolaos Konstantinos Nansis, whatever. One's more Greek sounding than the other.
Yeah, he's Greek. We're Jewish.
Hey, I'm poor Jewish here, you two. Yes?
Really? Jewish? Should I bring up the whole Hanukkah story about how your people bent over my people and did the nasty with them?
Well, here's the thing. Those Greeks tried to. My other Greeks didn't. We just stayed in the hills, farming sheep, and all that stuff.
Nico, are you Athens or Sparta? That's what I need to know.
How about you watch the movie 300 and then you get back to us?
There's only 3 Greeks, as far as I'm concerned. Athenians, Spartans, or cool Greeks who watch Fat Albert. Which one are you, Nico?
Choose your next words wisely.
I am a Macedonian Greek.
I'll spell it out for you. Fat... Ow!
Hey! I went and hung out with Aristotle today.
Hey! I hung out with Hippocrates today. No.
All right. I hope you're all in
here.
a good mood, reminiscing about one of the greatest films ever to be put out into the early 2000s, the Fat Albert movie. But anyway, this is a podcast where we talk about funny stories in the news and tell them in a funny way. And I don't want to beat around the bush, or as Fat Albert would say, beat around Bill Cosby raping another girl.
Oh.
I want to get to a story, a more wholesome story that will make you forget about how awful Bill Cosby is, if you don't mind.
Let's get into it.
Let's get right into it. So this story is about ice cream. Sounds simple, right?
I love ice cream.
But it's an ice cream flavor that is guaranteed to make you cry more than an onion. So it's worse than onion-flavored ice cream.
Is it COVID-flavored ice cream?
No, that's sold out.
My blood's
Everyone's getting it. It's actually tear gas-flavored ice cream.
What? What?
I get a tear in my eye just thinking about it.
That's nasty. Who would want to eat
That's nasty. Nico, let me explain. Let's not make judgments. I understand you may be bigoted because you've never seen the Fat Albert movie, but let me explain here. So it's a flavor developed in Hong Kong. It's a place in China for those not acquainted in an ice cream shop. And that's literally the flavor, tear gas. No hyperbole, that's it. The secret ingredient, something that Mr. Krabs would never unfold. I will tell you the secret ingredient. It's black peppercorns. Yum. It's the same ingredient police used during demonstrations last year in the country. During protests, it's actually used for tear gas. And it will make you cry.
Brandon.
Or maybe laugh. I don't know
That is the
how sick you
most
are.
authoritative thing I've ever heard in my entire life. A government using tear gas on its own people, then selling it in ice cream form.
I mean,
No, the government isn't selling it, Scott.
Well, somewhere in Hong Kong is selling it, right? I mean, the Chinese.
Yeah, but there's a reason for it.
Okay, what's the reason?
Let's not jump to conclusions like when Fat Albert got out of the TV and started to theorize how he got out of the TV. Let's not be like Fat Albert, okay? So,
All right.
the flavor is acting as a pro-democracy statement, which the shop owner is hoping will kick back once the pandemic dies down. So once the pandemic dies down, they can get back to the America pro-democracy movements. And this ice cream flavor is in support of that. Why do you think that is? Use your big boy brains.
Well, Brandon, in Hong Kong, they're having protests with the government every day to be independent. So, I mean...
How will ice cream solve everyone's problems? Don't give me the Fat Albert answer that Fat Albert eats ice cream to forget the pain. How will ice cream help?
How will ice cream specifically help bring democracy back to Hong Kong?
Yes, exactly.
Because selling it is a form of capitalism, and capitalism is a part of democracy.
Oh, it's good. It's good. It is about $5 a pop, it's been a major hit. It's hard to believe. Over about 20 to 30 scoops a day.
Oh, so they're raising money using the ice cream?
They are. But here's the reasoning behind it. It's a purposely horrible flavor, but it's saying, look how bad this is. Chinese people are getting served this flavor literally from protests.
Oh, I see.
In a way, if it's a metaphor.
Okay.
Just like how the Fat Albert movie is a metaphor for
how you should never leave
all the stages
TV.
of life. I have a quote here. It's pretty good. It says, it tastes like tear gas. It feels difficult to breathe at first. This is him eating the ice cream, and it's really pungent and irritating. It makes me want to drink a lot of water immediately. I think it's a flashback that reminds me of how painful I felt in the movement, and that I shouldn't forget.
But it doesn't. It probably gives you really bad diarrhea, if I'd imagine. If you're already lactose intolerant, and then you eat that.
There should be another warning, not just lactose intolerant. If you're allergic to tear gas, I think most people are. You should probably stay away from this flavor. Anyway, it's a hard flavor to produce. They tried getting wasabi and mustard and fusing it together, but unfortunately that didn't do the trick, so they used the black peppercorns. And just like the Fat Albert movie, it was a real big hit.
Well, I mean, I'm surprised there haven't been any more large pieces of news. I can't even BS fast enough. I'm surprised they haven't even had any coverage on the explosive diarrheas they must be having.
I'd probably be tearing up while having that horrible diarrhea. I'm putting.
So let me explain to you how it's made. There's a process. The black peppercorns are roasted and grinded into a gelato.
Ooh.
Once people are tricked into thinking that it's an Italian treat, they'll take a bite and most likely lose all sensation in their throat.
Wow.
Another fun thing about the ice cream shop, it has a safe space for people to post their thoughts about democracy on sticky notes. So they're saying, listen, this is a place where you could speak your mind freely, eat our ice cream, and warnings, you may have throat irritation or bad diarrhea from eating our ice cream. It's not really an American concern, definitely a Chinese thing, but I'm happy that businesses in China are using their own platform for a good cause to help people.
Even if it might temporarily hurt them when they eat the ice cream. It still is the right thing to do, but I'm putting that ice cream flavor in F tier.
Anyway, Scott, I don't wanna hog the spotlight just like Fat Albert did in the Fat Albert movie.
Oh my god.
What's your story?
Right. So I have two stories, and I'll get right into the first one. I have the story from Utah, the state only known for Salt Lake City, and that's about it, and Mormons. And a woman in Utah, her name is Mindy Vincent. She ordered multiple masks online, custom masks, and all of the masks have cartoon penises drawn on them. She posted a picture on Instagram with a picture of her wearing the mask in her car, and she wrote on her post, "Behold, my masks have arrived. I wore this to Walmart and Petco today. When someone tells me my mask has penises on it, I kindly let them know this is how I determine if they are too close," which is pretty creative, right? I mean...
That's really creative. Wow, I didn't think of it that way.
Smart.
God, the penises are on her mouth, though.
You think this is where that story ends, Brandon, but there's actually more to this story. A lot of.
Well, where there are penises, there are testicles. So I look forward to where she put those.
So, after seeing her post blew up online, and a lot of people were commenting asking where she bought the masks from. And
Expenses.
what this woman did is she ended up buying a bulk of masks. She bought 6,000 masks from this website.
Oh my
And
goodness.
some of them had penises on them, some of them had vaginas, some of them had breasts.
Wow, that's inclusion.
And she began selling these masks for $20 each, and then she donated all the money to an organization called, let me just find the name of the organization, the Utah Harm Reduction Coalition. And she raised over $50,000 for this. So now there are people all over Utah wearing penis masks, like it's some sort of crime syndicate.
It's not a crime.
Society.
It's a brilliant tactic. If you see the penis, you're like, you know what? No way, Jose. You know that it's a problem if you see someone's penis in public. That goes for real life. So this is kind of perfect. If you see on the mask, you're not supposed to see a penis, so don't go buy the penis. It's so simple. It's just like in the Fat Albert movie. Fat Albert and his Junkyard Gang, they're all dudes. You don't see their penises once. So if she's trying to be more like Fat Albert in the Fat Albert movie, I have nothing but respect, and I tip my invisible hat to her.
But Brandon, unfortunately, many women saw Bill Cosby's penis. Unfortunately.
Oh, God. Oh,
You can
God.
cut that out if you'd like, but I just felt like mentioning it.
I'll think about it. Scott, is it my turn to say a story?
Brandon, take it away.
Nico, are you ready for my story?
Let's see how this goes. I'm ready.
I want to take you guys back to the 90s, to the early 2000s, back when we had a little store that was around before Netflix, and we called it Blockbuster.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Blockbuster fondly.
You remember Blockbuster?
That's
Blockbuster,
Why?
I went to the store back in the GameCube days, and it was frustrating because most games you had to rent and you couldn't buy. I'm just like, why can't I go to GameStop and just buy a game? I didn't realize that that people would rather rent things, but it's a big deal. And when it closed down all over the world, people were really upset. But guys, what if I told you that there's still one more Blockbuster left in the multiverse?
Brandon, I own a shirt from that Blockbuster. You've seen me wear that shirt before, right?
I don't look at you, Scott. I'm too ashamed to look at you, so I haven't seen it. We had the Blockbuster in Alaska and in Australia. Those were one of the last few, but they closed down. But the last store, and Scott, you got the shirt. You know, where is it from? Where's the last store?
It is in Alaska, right? Or is it in Oregon?
It's in Oregon.
Yeah.
You have to go on the Oregon Trail, risk dysentery. A couple oxen may die, but then once you finish the trail, there's Blockbuster. You made it.
I would never buy food for my passengers. I'd buy way too much ammo, though.
So they even sell merchandise that's very fitting for the time, like a bumper sticker that says, "I survived with the last Blockbuster."
I should visit it.
The store has been going on for 20 years strong. That's impressive.
Wow.
Need I remind you that Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, and that CBS scam are all still things. And they're still alive and kicking. The store has outlived all the Blockbusters, and it's surviving through the COVID-19 threat.
Really?
And they're doing this by, number one, they're offering a curbside pickup service for people to pick up some movies. For example, I don't know, the Fat Albert movie.
Where else can you find a physical copy of Fat Albert?
Probably have to get it from the Smithsonian Museum, but then you have to go through like a couple of alarm systems, and that's too tricky. So go to Blockbuster and get Fat Albert.
Side note about Fat Albert. Brandon said that for my birthday, he would buy me a Fat Albert movie poster online. And
Yes.
And you better.
I affirm that.
Please. I looked online, they're only like $20, but I want you to get a signed one from the whole cast.
I'll get one from Bill Cosby. A signed copy, and you will stare at that at your ceiling.
I'll feel terrible about
Cosby's
myself
name.
if I get a Bill
You will feel
I
terrible.
want to say I want to get pudding. And
I wonder
have
if they let Bill Cosby out of prison for COVID-19.
Well, that's another story for another day.
Right.
But I don't want to make myself sick, so I will not talk about it right here.
I understand.
Understandable.
Anyway, to stay relevant, boys, and get the newest releases, the store owner will go to her local Walmart and purchase multiple copies of the latest film on Blu-ray and then sell it at Blockbuster.
What?
Wow.
So, like, for example, what's a new movie that came out?
Fat Albert 2.
the Fat Albert 2,
The
or like the
Scoob-
Birds of Prey
Scoob
movie.
movie.
And she'll go to Walmart, get multiple copies of Birds of Prey, and then sell it. And it's the Blockbuster way. How else do you survive in this Netflix day and age? The store keeps in line a social distancing protocol, of course. They use arrows taped on the store floor, and there's only 10 customers that are allowed at the store at a single time. And the store owner was really worried that this COVID-19 threat would be the death of Blockbuster forever, but they're actually getting by. They're actually getting customers. Just like how people are getting the tear gas ice cream flavor in Hong Kong. And just like a lot of civilized, well-educated people are Netflix and chilling with their honeys to the Fat Albert movie.
Well,
It's all great.
if there's one business that's going to survive this pandemic, it's Blockbuster because everyone's home anyway. So they're going to rent DVDs, right?
Yeah, they.
I don't know about that. I think there's a much more easier thing to do. It's called the internet. You can
I guess,
find
but,
stuff
you know.
illegally. So I mean, one's cheaper.
But you
One-
can't get physical copies of Fat Albert on Netflix.
No, but you could illegally.
What about the
download-
Barnyard game? You can't get that online. It's not on the eShop.
Did I tell
It's not on the PS Store. You have to get Barnyard on Blockbuster.
we have a copy of the Barnyard soundtrack in my house somewhere. I remember my friend Jeremy found it by accident. He's like, "Why do you have this?"
Part. What do you have the part with "I won't back down"?
Yeah, won't back-
bend the cow.
Yeah, "Won't Back Down" is on it by Tom Petty. Or no, not by
See, Nico knows it.
Johnny Cash is on it. Brandon, if it's okay with you, may I go on to my final story here?
Well, Scott, I won't back down. Please continue. For the love of all that is Fat Albert.
Oh, thank you. So, obviously, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, we talked about the 5-year-old kid who was actually from Utah. Actually, no, he's from California. Actually, no, he
He was
from
going to
Utah.
California.
We talked about the 5-year-old kid who stole his parents' SUV and then got a Lamborghini. Do you remember that story?
Yeah, good times, Nico. You missed out.
We have a follow-up from that story. He spent,
Oh, my stars and garters.
he spent the entire weekend in California driving the Lamborghini. And then he went back home to his hometown of Ogden, Utah. And when he got home, his parents, quote unquote, grounded him indefinitely. So, according to his parents, this kid, his name is Adrian Zamripa. He is grounded indefinitely by his parents. He can no longer go out and get drinks and do whatever he was doing when he was driving.
Drinks? He's 5.
Well, I don't know how he was also driving a Lamborghini, but he was doing that.
Because he wants to be like Garfield from Garfield Kart. We acknowledge this.
A Garfield from A
Jesus.
Tale of Two Kitties.
How can you... That is the second best early 2000s movie behind Fat Albert. But I have a question. How do you ground a child in the quarantine world?
I mean,
I
to
guess
make it look
they're
They're
Oh,
going to
he's
stay in the room anyway.
It's a lot easier.
What-
You don't have to do much, right?
Do you take away their copy of Barnyard on GameCube and they have to play like Mario instead? Is that the punishment?
No Fortnite.
I don't know.
No Fortnite. That's the best. That's the most harsh punishment you can give a kid. No Fortnite and no Minecraft.
Kids would rather be whipped
You'd
with an
rather
electrical cord than to not play Fortnite.
exactly, and he can't talk to people online as they curse him out.
I can imagine the kid be like, no, I want to play Fortnite.
That kid is going to grow up to be such a gangster. Well, that is if he's ever ungrounded.
It's indefinitely.
Yeah,
We don't know
he
how
might
long
be
it's going to
grounded
last.
until he's 18. I think that was worth it, though. I think driving a Lamborghini for a whole weekend was worth it to be grounded for the rest of his life.
Honestly, I'm 21 and I've never experienced what this 5-year-old has
I
experienced.
know.
So mad props to him. Enjoy your grounded life. Make sure your parents don't take away your Fortnite. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids and cadets, the takeaway I want you to take away from this podcast is to go to your local Blockbuster, which happens to be in Oregon. Get a copy of Fat Albert on Blu-ray. Not even DVD, Blu-ray because it's worth it. Rent Barnyard for the GameCube. Go back home in your Lamborghini and have some fun and maybe eat some tear gas ice cream and enjoy yourself.
That's
And
right.
that's the takeaway. Nico, thank you so much for coming on. I missed your voice. I really did. Oh, wait, he's muted. Well, Nico, I'm just going to thank you, and I will talk to you immediately after this. We're wrapping up right now. Scott, thank you for being you.
I love you, buddy.
I love you, too. I love you, Nico. I hope you hear me. I think he gets the message. Ladies and gentlemen, we love you, and we hope you love us. If you want to hear more of us, I hope you do. You could find us on TuneIn, Spotify, Anchor, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube. We have a Facebook, a Twitter, an Instagram. And you know what? We even have a website, nonsensenewsnation.com. And if you want to speak to us and give us your fan fictions of Fat Albert, because I really want to read them right now, you can contact us on nonsensenewsradio@gmail.com. That is nonsensenewsradio@gmail.com. Once again, I've been Brandon Ellis.
I've been Scott Harnickman.
Nico is muted right now, but he says that he is Nico Nantes. This was Totally Nonsense on Nonsense News Nation. We will see you on the next podcast. Peace.
Peace out.